jammed up eastbound 401 from Winston Churchill to east of Mississauga Road. I'll check with the MTO, see if they've heard anything in that area. It's just out of our camera range, unfortunately. And then eastbound 401 across the city. Some good news. It looks like a smooth drive. Southbound on the 404 Don Valley, just a little bit of a delay as you approach the 401 ramps, but it's a smooth drive down the southbound DVP. Westbound on the QEW, just west of Winston Churchill, the left lane is closed for construction. Just a minor delay getting through that construction zone. It's heavier on the Toronto-bound QEW. At North Shore, the right lane is closed for road work, so it's backed up from the Burlington Skyway to North Shore. But once you're out of that construction zone, it looks to be in great shape on the remainder of the eastbound QEW. No problems on the eastbound Gardner heading into the city. Off the highways, westbound Shooter at Jarvis, all lanes have reopened, so that collision investigation has wrapped up. Still have Bathurst closed sections between Bloor and Barton for long-term construction. Your next traffic report is at 12:31. Now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Well, just one more day for us with the higher heat and humidity. Heads up though for showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Not all areas affected. Guaranteed high 30 will feel like 36. Any isolated activity will end early this evening. And mainly cloudy and a very warm 21 degrees. Tomorrow, widespread scattered thunderstorms, but less humid, the high 25. Sunny clouds for Wednesday, 24. For today, the guaranteed high 30.
Yeah, Facebook
and right now in downtown Toronto, it's partly
watch
cloudy
the
and
Facebook one.
27, although factor in the humidity, it feels like 33. Those same conditions at Pearson. And coming up at the bottom of the hour, beginning this Wednesday, Torontonians will be able to get their hair cut, even go sit on a patio if they want. Government sources confirming to our Richard Summer that Toronto will enter
RB Building Supply जिनको ਤੁਸੀਂ A1 quality ਦੇ baseboard drywall HVAC plumbing ਅਤੇ
Invited to come meet the Volvo of Toronto team that will turn your summer into the summer of Volvo. Volvo of Toronto is waiving the first 3 payments when you lease select in-stock 2020 models, including the XC90, a beautiful blend of performance and technology. Or save an additional $1,000 when you get or pay cash. Remember, Volvo of Toronto is here for you with exceptional service even in difficult times. Visit Volvo of Toronto, downtown near Chariot Front, or VolvoofToronto.com. We work for you.
From talking to the newsmakers
French station is the same company. There's 2 of those that
COVID-19
and answers about your job and finances.
If you have a question, ask it at 680news.com/answers.
680 News. Get
But
the
if they didn't
answers.
work at all, they wouldn't be able to do this.
680 News. Working for you.
Technically, they're not working for me.
And this portion of 680 News brought to you today by SearchKings.ca. Campgrounds and regions entering stage number 2 will gradually reopen at provincial parks this week. Washrooms and water taps will also now be accessible. Other services like park stores, visitor centers, and sports fields will be phased in over the next several weeks. Facilities, though, like showers, laundry, group camping, and swimming pools will remain closed for the rest of the season. All details for what's open and closed can be found at OntarioParks.ca. And this just into 680 News. The Toronto Police Services Board has announced an interim chief as Mark Saunders prepares to retire from the position. Deputy Chief James Raymer will begin his term on August the 1st until a new chief is appointed by the board.
Oh, if everybody says, who's that? Maybe that's a good thing.
Specialized Operations Command, which is responsible essentially for the city's investigative squads. Stay with 680 News for more
He's
on
Mark
this
the Dark
developing
Narc
story.
all over again.
And coming up in 60 seconds, we have got Christmas.
5-star Google reviews are the best reviews any company can get. This drum beat represents one.
Now, why I can't find this station on here? I don't know. I found all the other ones.
And this is how many Search Kings has. Search Kings has hundreds of 5-star Google reviews. Now put your Google hand-selected Search Kings as a Google Premier partner. And they're Canadian. Want to stand out where your customers are online? Switch to Search Kings. While we get back to business and normalcy, it's still important to protect each other. United Canada Inc. is one of the leading suppliers in Canada for medical supplies and are here to serve you with their protective face masks. They carry a wide variety of face masks, from their medical-grade face masks that are made in Canada to non-medical face masks starting at just $27.99 for a pack of 50. Order today at UnitedCanadaInc.com and get free shipping. Time 12:26.
Time now for the 680 News Business Report. Let's check in at the Business Center with Chris McCusker. Chris, keeping an eye on markets this afternoon and Wall Street doing pretty good so far.
Yeah, it's kind of funny though. Everything in perspective. We're still talking about fairly modest gains, but Wall Street is actually close to its highs for the day. The Dow is up by 107, the S&P up by 11 points, and the Nasdaq higher by 79. So the Nasdaq is trying for a 7th straight winning day, which could be the longest winning streak this year. And we are seeing these gains even as the World Health Organization said the number of coronavirus cases hit a record for a single day yesterday. Alan Small is Senior Investment Advisor at the Alan Small Financial Group with all as well.
This is playing like 20, 30 minutes and I'm sweating
Arizona, Texas, we're seeing an increase. So the market will take it negatively when you, on the flip side, here's something positive that the states are actually getting better. The market seems to bounce.
Now, a big bounce today for shares in Virgin Galactic, up by 11.5% right now to $16.75. The aerospace company, which is focused on space flights for private individuals, has announced a Space Act agreement with NASA for private orbital space flights to the International Space Station. Virgin Galactic will now develop a private orbital astronaut readiness program. Have also been keeping an eye on shares in American Airlines. That stock is down 6% right now to $15.03. The carrier says it will raise $3.5 billion in new financing. Rather than relying on federal aid, they have to get through the pandemic. On this side of the border, the TSX is higher by 38 points, 50,513. And still the biggest move to the upside coming from the gold stocks. Gold is up very close to an 8-year high, up by $18 right now, 17.71. And the Canadian dollar is higher by a third of a cent, 73.83 cents U.S. I'm Chris McCusker. This is 680 News.
Being stuck in your home during this pandemic also means you have a home. Waiting in line for groceries means you have money for groceries. The isolation, being broke, and totally scared about what's next. I was feeling that before this crisis. People say we're in this together, but me, I've got no one.
Youth who have aged out of the child welfare system are in danger of falling further through the cracks because of today's crisis. They need your support. Please give today at helpyouthnow.ca.
something like 25,000 stations disagree.
So if our weather forecast is off by more than 3 degrees,
You could win cash.
details at 680news.com.
Walmart is now rolling back prices on thousands of everyday essential items to help your family stretch every dollar. Save $1.50 on a family-sized box of Honey Nut Cheerios or Lucky Charms cereal. Now only $3.97. Walmart. Save money, live better.
So Taylor's latest forecast for the day, expecting a mix of sun and cloud, but there is a good chance of some showers, even thunderstorms later on this afternoon with a guaranteed high. For tonight, showers and isolated thunderstorms should end, but then mainly cloudy conditions overnight. Still fairly warm overnight at a low of only 21. Tomorrow starting the day off with some scattered rain and a little less humid, with a high near 25. Right now in downtown Toronto, 27, but feeling like 33. Michael Gibbons is the Midday Show editor. Zahir Hashimi is our digital editor. 680 News Time, 12:30.
Number 1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Sarah Barrett and Steve Roberts. Good afternoon. It's Monday, June 22nd.
Well, good afternoon. Here's what's making news this hour. After more than a 3-month wait, the city will reopen on Wednesday. The premier expected to give Toronto patios, hair salons, and malls the green light this afternoon.
Mayor Tory's executive committee meets today ahead of next week's big council meeting on the agenda. Moving forward, Cafe TO.
An investigation into the GTA tow truck turf war sees almost a dozen people charged, including a Toronto police officer who's accused of corruption and taking part in organized crime.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the arrests of Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor were a political decision by China, despite warnings from Chinese officials who say the Prime Minister should stop making irresponsible comments.
Raptors are Florida bound to begin Phase 2, and the PGA Championship gets the green light. Sports at 45.
Wall Street is close to its highs for the day. The Dow up by 100 points, and shares in Apple moving higher ahead of a big event. Business at 56.
680 News Time, 12:31.
Time for traffic and weather together all the ones. Here's Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Just got a call from a traffic spotter. Be careful on the southbound 404 ramp to Finch. In the left lane of that ramp, reports of a big box. So I'll notify MTO right after this report. Again, that's southbound 404 on the ramp to Finch. Still looking for an update on problems eastbound on the 401 east of Mississauga Road. We definitely have something there because that backup is just getting worse. Now, first of all, it's a slow go on the eastbound 401 east of Guelph line at Kelso. The right lane is closed for construction, and then we likely have that problem there east of Mississauga Road. Any updates appreciated at star 680, but it is jammed up on the eastbound 401 from approaching Winston Churchill to east of Mississauga Road. On the westbound 401, just a minor delay taking the collector ramps to the 410 and 403. They're down to a single lane for construction. Westbound on the QAW, just west of Winston Churchill, the left lane closed there for road work. A bit busy as you approach Winston Churchill, and a slow drive Toronto bound on the QAW from the Burlington Skyway to North Shore. That's where the right lane is closed for road work. And getting around on city streets this afternoon, Bathurst is shut down in both directions north of Bloor. It's closed between Bloor and Barton for long-term road work. 407 ETR is proud to be United Way's first corporate partner in Canada to make a multi-year investment, sending $4 million to help the GTHA recover from COVID-19. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Another hot, humid day. One more day with the heat warning. Guaranteed high 30. Will feel like 36.
The only one that
Heads up for showers and thunderstorms this afternoon, and a warm low 21. For today, the guaranteed high 30.
We've warmed up down to 29 degrees in these core. We're feeling like 34. We factor in the humidity. Out of Pearson right now, looks like a temperature of 28 degrees, but also feeling like 34. 680 News Time, 12:33.
Stage 2 of reopening in the city of Toronto is on our doorstep. It comes as the number of daily COVID cases is again below 200.
The city's Cam Dorrit joining us live with the latest, including those numbers and some big news from the province today. Cam.
Steve, let's start with that big news. 680's Richard Southern confirming the city will enter stage 2 this Wednesday. Government sources confirming the news this afternoon. The premier will make it a formality when he speaks at 1 o'clock. That means 48 hours from now, you could be sipping a pint on the patio after
he said it was going to be a week.
From the mall.
He said it was going to be on Monday. They're going to tell us it will be Friday.
11:30 this morning with lifeguards on duty until 6:30
on Monday. They're going to tell us
this is why. List of those beaches available at 680news.com. It comes with encouraging COVID-19 numbers right across the province. 161 new cases in Ontario, 36 in Toronto, 44 in Peel region, and 32 in Windsor, Essex. The 3 regions still in stage 1. Now, 18 of the 34 regions reported no new cases at all, and 53 more cases were resolved in the province, then reported, all encouraging signs in the fight against COVID-19. Just a reminder, we will carry the Premier's announcement right here on 680 News in about half an hour, where, again, he is expected to confirm that Toronto will enter stage 2.
You don't even know for sure. Oh, no.
CAPTO is top of mind during today's meeting of the Mayor's Executive Committee. 680's Melvin Qureshi joins us live with more on the plan that would make it easier for restaurants to expand their patios. Melvin.
Yeah, that's what this initiative is all about, really, Sarah. To make it easier for restaurants to maybe expand their patios on the sidewalks, laneways, open parking lots, depending on where the bar or restaurant is located. That's in an effort to make sure that they have more room for physical distancing, to make it more welcoming for customers to come in, maybe enjoy a beverage or a meal on a patio throughout the summer. So the Mayor's Executive Committee discussing this today, and it's not as easy as it sounds. There are a lot of issues involved in this, not only in terms of city regulations, but also in terms of these restaurants and bars getting extra insurance to make that happen. That's the type of thing that may take some time. So even though the city's trying to push this through as fast as possible, it's possible possible that some of these places may not be able to expand their patios for several weeks to come. This issue will also be going to City Council next week. Reporting live, I'm on the correction.
You're listening to 680 News. It's now 12:36. An investigation in the GTA's tow truck industry has now resulted in almost a dozen people being charged, among them a Toronto police officer. 680's Irene Precklett is on the story for us, joining us live now with more. Irene.
And Steve, 47-year-old Constable Ronald Joseph faces about a dozen charges. Among the charges, 3 counts of breach of trust and participation in activities of a criminal organization. Toronto police say he's accused of stealing a police radio. He also owned 2 tow trucks and a car rental agency, and is accused of getting kickbacks for tips as well as referrals to his car rental agency.
With respect to the ability to intercept police communications, attend more accidents, or perhaps evade
So what was it going to get you
protection.
the encrypted radio?
He used his position to provide insider knowledge to the group.
Absolute
The investigation
contradict
spanning 10 months
radio.
and also involved the OPP and York Regional Police. Police seizing 6 tow trucks and recovering 3 stolen police radios as well as a loaded gun. Reporting live, Irene Precklett, 680 News. 680 News time, 12:37. We have breaking news from the Toronto Police Services Board, which has selected someone to take the helm when Mark Saunders steps down at the end of July. Deputy Chief James Raymer will be the interim chief of police effective August 1st. Raymer has been a Toronto police officer since 1980 and oversees the Specialized Operations Command. A statement from the board says Raymer has overseen the expansion of initiatives to respond to persons in crisis, and that he's worked as a champion of promoting diversity
Just the
and
ones that make
inclusivity.
more than $100,000
Raymer
a
will
year.
not apply to become the next permanent chief of police.
You're listening to Toronto's 680
Yeah, Toronto, we don't have no permanent chief police. You guys don't seem to get that. They don't go back to the history
Peel
book.
District School Board's efforts to eradicate anti-black racism in its schools. Education Minister Stephen Lecce announcing today that veteran educator Bruce Rodriguez will supervise the board. School board trustees passing a motion last week requesting a provincial supervisor. It came after a provincial report alleged racist practices at Peel schools, including black students being suspended more often than other students.
The intersection of Morningstar and Goreway in Mississauga is closed ahead of a planned vigil today. Demonstrators are expected to gather at 4 o'clock this afternoon as they call for a public inquiry into the death of 62-year-old Ijaz Chowdhury on Saturday. His family says Peel police used excessive force when officers stormed the home and shot Chowdhury, who they say was in crisis. The Special Investigations Unit has been called in.
Well, to Ottawa now, where the Prime Minister says it was the Chinese and not him who first linked the arrest of Canadians Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor to the arrest of Chinese tech executive Meng Wanzhou.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau not backing down on his remarks about the 2 cases, despite Chinese officials warning him today to stop making irresponsible comments. The officials claim the arrest of Michael Kovrig and Michael Spavor and the espionage charges against them are not linked to the detention of Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou. Trudeau says it's the Chinese government who has been linking the cases from the start.
It has been obvious from the beginning that this was a political decision made by the Chinese government, and we deplore it and have from the very beginning. We will continue to advocate strongly and firmly for the release of these 2 Canadians who've been arbitrarily detained.
The 2 Michaels were detained just days after Meng Wanzhou's arrest in Vancouver on a U.S. extradition request in December 2018. Trudeau also once again today rejecting the idea of a prisoner swap, which is still being pushed by some former high-ranking liberals from the Chrétien era. The U.S. also provided some support for Canada, with the Secretary of State releasing a statement.
Yeah, that's the old men that really run the country. Whether they're in office or not, don't really matter. They're all good.
Immediate release. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
This is 680 News. Concert promoter Live Nation will debut a series of drive-in concerts in American cities next month, so fans can enjoy live music while maintaining physical distance.
So check the flavor that I'm bringing. The motherfucking DRE. I'll keep the motherfucking head ringing.
Oh, so much for that. What fuck station was? That's Congo right now. Yeah. I'm not in the Congo. I get in trouble for that. Oh, fuck. Look at this bright green shit here. I'm gonna smoke. Watch. Premiere's gonna come out early. That's not what I wanted at all. Oh, yes, it is.
Enjoy with wide open spaces, rides for the kids big and small, exciting animal exhibits, and great spots for families to picnic. Marineland has it all. They're opening soon and can't wait to see your family having fun at the park this summer. Visit marineland.ca to learn more about the reopening plans for 2020. Everyone loves Marineland.
I hope those whales grow legs and kick your ass and walk back to the ocean. You never see them.
Time for traffic and weather together all at once. Here's Carrie Prunskis. This report is brought to you by The Source. Eastbound on the 401, approaching Highway 25, the right lane is closed for construction. It's heavy from just east of Guelph Line. And we have a heavy backup again on the eastbound 401, jammed from approaching Winston Churchill to east of Mississauga Road. Thanks to traffic spotters for the updates. It's the center lane that's blocked. A stalled transport truck. There is a heavy tow on the scene, and it was being hooked up. Last I spoke with the last traffic spotter who was passing by. But be aware of those delays eastbound 401 approaching Winston Churchill to east of Mississauga Road. And watch out for a box. It was reported on the southbound 404 ramp to Finch in the left lane. MTO crews are on their way to pick that up. Westbound on the QEW, just west of Winston Churchill, the left lane is closed for construction. It's busy as you approach Winston Churchill to about Ford Drive, and then it opens up. And on the Toronto-bound QEW at North Shore, the right lane is closed for some road work. It's heavy from the Burlington Skyway. On city streets, Bathurst is shut down in both directions between Bloor and Barton. That's long-term construction scheduled until September. The Source's Red Tag sale is on now. Shop amazing tech deals on the latest smartwatches, headphones, laptops, and more. Shop now. The Source and thesource.ca. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor. High heat and humidity for one more day. Our guaranteed high 30 will feel like 36. Chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon into the early evening and mainly cloudy. 21 for the low. Tomorrow, scattered showers and thunderstorms, less humid, the high 25. For today, the guaranteed high 30.
And right now in downtown Toronto, it's mostly cloudy and 29 degrees. Factor in the humidity, it feels more like 34. Out of Pearson Airport, 28, but feeling like 34. 680 News Time, 12:43.
Now the Scotia iTrade Market Minute, live from the Business Center. Here's Chris McCusker.
Well, Sarah, we've still got modest gains on both sides of the border. A little off the highs for the day in the U.S. with the Dow up by 88. The S&P is higher by 15. The NASDAQ up by 83, but it is holding about that 10,000 mark at 10,029. While the TX actually is higher by 34, 15,508. Gold is up by $15, 17.68. Oil is higher by 28 cents, $40, 3 cents a barrel. And the Canadian dollar up by 36 100s now, 73.85 cents U.S. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get started in 3 easy steps and begin your investing journey from home today. Learn more at scotiaitrade.com.
As we head into the summer, the Catholic teachers of Dufferin Peel know the impact.
Oh, fuck off. Weren't you like the last ones to come off strike or whatever? I just they can remember everything selectively. ABC, no. The fucking hell? I'm fucking serious, eh? So the fuck I'm supposed to fix that? Fucking bullshit. I love when companies tell me how great they are. Put advertising on the package. I just paid them for it. Here, watch this and buy this. No. And the product is garbage. Yeah, the part you put the least force on just ripped clean on. BBC Arabic, BBC Persian, BBC News, BBC World News. What the fuck's wrong with this shit now, man? I was picking these up earlier. Oh, it's the 1 inch I need this thing. Fox News Radio. Oh, what the fuck is the issue?
Will vary based on local conditions and each department's requirements. Terry Pedro, the Canadian Press, Ottawa.
680 News Time, 12:49. A New York City police officer has been quickly suspended without pay after putting his arm around a man's neck. The suspension came just hours after the officer used what NYPD Commissioner Dermot Shea called an apparent chokehold yesterday during a confrontation on a boardwalk in the Rockaway section of Queens. Mayor Bill de Blasio says he's very upset about the incident.
The incident that occurred on the Rockaway boardwalk, I think a lot of people have seen this very troubling video of an NYPD officer apparently using a banned chokehold, which is absolutely disturbing to watch and unacceptable.
When was it ever okay to fucking
banned by the New York City Police
That's the
Department
part
and has
about
been
it said
especially
everybody's
since
acting
the
out. They need more
2014
training
death
to
of
know
Eric
not to
Garner.
do that.
This is
Everything
680
in the fucking world
News.
that's seen wrestling is
Well,
not to do
Ford
that.
is bringing back an iconic brand, but the automaker is changing the unveiling date to avoid association with one of the SUV's most infamous, that is, passengers.
Ford is delaying the debut of the new Bronco to avoid a collision with history.
Shut up.
The unveiling of the 2021 model had been set
The
for
guy
July
that
9th,
pretended
but
he
then
got
also
away with a
happens to be the
murder,
birthday of
and
O.J.
it turns
Simpson.
out a serial killer
Simpson,
killed
famous for
58
riding
other
in a white
fucking
Bronco
people.
during a televised
Completely did it.
1994 low-speed chase through Los Angeles. After failing to
Never
turn
known
himself
he didn't
in,
do it.
he was charged in the
So
double murder of his wife,
big
Nicole
black
Brown
guy
Simpson, and her
slagging
friend
on
Ronald
shit.
Goldman, eventually acquitted. The new Bronco is now set to debut on July
He's gonna be
13th.
a piece of
Dave
shit.
Packer,
So
ABC
good.
News.
680 News Time, 12:51.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Prunskis. It's a slow drive on the eastbound 401. There's construction approaching Highway 25. The right lane is closed, so it's backed up eastbound 401 from Guelph line to approaching Highway 25. Looks like the problem eastbound 401 east of Mississauga Road has cleared, but delays still.
approaching Winston Churchill to about Mavis. And we have a new problem on the eastbound 401 east of Victoria Park in the Express. The right lane is blocked because of a stalled vehicle. This just happened, so it doesn't look like the backup is too bad just yet, but watch out for this eastbound 401 east of Victoria Park in the Express. Southbound on the 404, keep an eye out on the ramp to Finch. We had reports of a big box in the left lane. MTO crews were on their way last I spoke with them. Westbound on the QEW, west of Winston Churchill, the left lane is closed for some road work. It's backed up as you approach Winston Churchill. And on the Toronto-bound QEW at North Shore, the right lane is closed for construction. So a heavy drive Toronto-bound QEW from the Burlington Skyway to North Shore. And on city streets, Bathurst is shut down in both directions between Bloor and Barton for long-term construction. Your next traffic